and we are going to start it off with our good friends from Guard Street. And you don't realize how important this guy really is in the cybersecurity field, and that is Vince Mazza. Vinny, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. Big fan of Jed TV, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's taken a while, and once in a while I'll talk to Vinny's cousin, and he'll tell me all of the obstacles that I'm facing. And I hate to admit it, but he's right. And I just hate to admit that any Mazzas are right in my life, but that is true. All of the obstacles are there, and we've been able to overcome some. And Vince Mazza is with Guard Street. Vinny, tell us what Guard Street does.
Sure. So Guard Street, we're a cybersecurity company, and we provide proactive tools and services to prevent cyber attacks. And then we also take those calls when there's an emergency. And hopefully at that point, you also have cyber liability insurance, which of course is a big topic today.
It is where we're going to go. Vince, we haven't had you on for a little while. There's been a lot of developments since we last had you on. And one of the things that you've been trying to do with these shows and with your company in general is maybe to bring an awareness of the need for a company like yours. Let's say a company right now is listening to this and they're driving around, and it's the guy who owns a 25-person, 20-computer company, and he says, all right, this is Jed's friend. I'm going to give this guy a call, or I'm going to sign up on their website at guardstreet.com. What's that chronology look like?
Well, the first step is acknowledgement. There's a lot of news out there with the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, and ransomware is the trendy attack approach these days because cryptocurrency value is pretty high. So there's acknowledgement, and then the next step is, okay, once I understand there is a need, I need to do something for my 25-person company. What do I need to do? And there's really two things that every business, especially nowadays, needs. One is a cyber attack plan with some key tools and services like scanning your network for ransomware, malware, that sort of thing. But every business right now needs cyber liability insurance as the backstop. So that they can recover quickly. If my 25-person company goes down for a week, what would happen? How would we survive financially? And right now, 83% of businesses don't have cyber liability insurance, and yet that 25-person shop, that's 75% of the attacks happening. And unfortunately, if you go to your insurance person, guy or gal, and you probably know more than they do about cyber liability insurance, and it's something you've got to research. So that's why I brought Anna Maria Vitti Welch to the show today, because she is president of the Vitti Companies. She is a shining star in the world of cyber liability insurance. And her company is absolutely an industry leader, and they practice good cybersecurity. And I know that because Guard Street is their cyber security company. And I just like the practical approach that she takes for small businesses, because if you don't choose wisely, it could actually damage your company should there be a cyber attack.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, how are you, Jim?
I'm doing fine, man. It's Vince. I can't call him Vinny. All right, we're all professionals. He called me Jimmy, so I got to get back at him. But it's so good to have you here. Tell us about the Vitti. Is it Vitti or Vitti?
VT, the
VT
companies.
All right, the VT companies. Yes. Tell us about what you guys do.
Well, we're a third-generation family-owned business. My grandfather started my company in 1938, and we help businesses as well as individuals with their insurance needs. Businesses, workman's comp, general liability, property, cyber liability, home, auto, boat, motorcycle, and then employee benefits.
So it sounds like you guys pivoted in that you're offering something that's kind of on the edge of innovation, but is certainly, I'm sure, growing, and that is cyber liability insurance. Before we get into it, so you got to do is somebody got to do some training in the company, or how do you guys come to be able to offer this?
I will let you know that we represent many insurance companies. So we do have a lot of companies that provide this coverage, whether it's adding it on to an existing policy you have or buying or purchasing it on its own.
Yeah. So, all right. I honestly, before this interview, I bought this. Okay. And part of it is I got a little Vinny in my head saying, you know what? I talked to my general liability guy. I'm like, hey, I need this rider, man. You know, I got everything's in the cloud now. I mean, we don't even have anything on the computers. I hate to tell people that we could do this from home. I could do the whole thing on my phone. And I'm like, man, maybe he's right. And so I realized my general liability did not cover this. Is that across? I mean, does most people's general liability not cover cyber liability?
None of them do. It's an exclusion on the policy. So you can, I know most people don't know that. But again, you need someone that, is, I'm going to say, wants to help people. And again, this should be told to everybody, or at least an option.
So,
because,
yeah, I mean, it was, I had to ask for it. I'm like, all right, do you have this? Oh, let me look. Oh, yeah, you know what? My buddy down in Indian office, he offers it. And you are spot on with that, Vinny. You may know more about it than your insurance agent. And, that's it. Now I think my insurance agent knows more about it, but you got to do it. Now, Anna Marie, we got a lot of people that in this area, there's a lot of like smaller mini mills and, 10 doctor groups and 10 lawyer groups. At what level do they have to start? I mean, how many people you got to have or how big you got to be before you start thinking about cyber liability insurance?
It really doesn't matter, because even if you're a company of one, if you're on the website or if you have any information, you are vulnerable and could get hacked, and it's going to cost you money. So it doesn't matter if you have one person, 10 people. You should really, and something, it doesn't cost to get a quote. That is the main thing. It's not like if you get a quote, you have to purchase it, but at least ask for it and see. And also too, you can get a small limit of 50,000 or 250,000. You don't have to go 1 million. It just depends on, how much you use the, I'm going to say the internet or website, and how much personal information you have on the computer.
How much you spend in cyber liability insurance really depends on your business. Mm-hmm. It's not so much about the employees, although that is a part of it. But what you should do to determine how much your company needs, and your agent should work with you on this, is do a scenario exercise. Hey, what would it cost my business if we were a victim of a ransomware attack? We were out for a week. How would we recover our data? Would we have to bring in an outside consultant? And what type of data do we have? Do we have personally identifiable information, say if we're a retailer or an e-tailer where we keep that kind of information? A breach usually costs about $150 a record these days. So you kind of back into how much do I need? A typical small business, is in the neighborhood of $1 million policy and might spend, $1,500 to $2,000 a year. But to Anna's point, and it's a very good one, is you could get a supplemental policy for $100,000 to $250,000, and that would be a great starting point.
We're talking, that's Vince Mazza, CEO of Guard Street. Also, we have Anna Marie Vidi, and she is with the Vidi Companies, and we're talking about cyber liability insurance. And typically, it is not the sexiest of topics, insurance stuff, but we cover them.
Yes, it is, Tim.
Yeah, yes, it is. But we talked. I had an insurance guy on yesterday, and there's a lot of interest in insurance, and people. That's like one of the biggest things that, especially a small to medium-sized business, has to deal with it. So, Anna Marie, I'm just curious. I'm fairly advanced here in internet. I mean, our company is internet based now. I know Vince, he's been hammering us on these interviews forever about bringing in awareness. But you've got a lot of, you guys have been around since the 30s. You got a lot of these long-time companies, and they're okay having their own interior network, and they know they have to have computers. But sometimes you run up against an attitude of like, how much stuff do I need? How do you convince these folks that this is something they need for their business?
Well, first of all, it is a law for a business to protect their clients' personal information. So if you do get hacked, you're going to be sued, I'm sure, right off the bat. Also, each state, if you do get hacked and supposedly your client's information was breached, there is, requirements. I'm sure a lot of you have had a letter sent to you because your information might have been breached by like the Target or Home Depot. And also, there's an expense that you usually have to offer your clients credit monitoring. So imagine how many clients you have and how much you're going to pay for that. But again, I start off low. I like to give options. And then you decide. We don't want anybody to be insurance poor, but again, give the options and you decide what you should need.
What does insurance poor mean anyways? I've heard that term before.
It just means that you feel like you're paying all this money and you, first of all, can't afford it. We write a lot of startups. So again, I'm not going to have them paying all this insurance when they're not even going to be able to, make money to even pay for it. But at least have something.
You bring up a good point. We are here at the Purdue Northwest Commercialization Center, and it's startup after startup coming in here to walk in and get their company started and commercialize it is what we're supposed to be doing here. And some of them move along, and some come in at maybe a higher level where they're already moving and they need different services. And when I talk to these folks, I'm on the board here. I guess I never really say, "Hey, man, are you protecting your information? And do you have cyber liability insurance?" Of course, that conversation will be added after this interview. But the venture capital community and the startup community, is this a widespread thing, or does it need to be?
Well, did you want to say something, Vince?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it's in the world of startups. And Jim, I'm involved with some startups and groups as well. And, very, very quickly, especially when they're, building data, they're building apps, you need to be cyber smart about that. And you need to check to make sure that vulnerabilities are addressed. And then once you are acquiring customers and generating revenue, it's foolish not to have cyber liability insurance at this point for the reason that if you were attacked as a startup, you probably don't have the wherewithal to get back on your feet. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's more important to have that backstop.
One thing I wanted to mention also is I like to tell people insurance is not written in stone. So especially with the startup, the agent should be offering you options and you decide, and you can always add it later, but at least Now, if you're a tech startup, I'd rather have somebody have cyber liability than general liability, because again, everything is on, the web, they have an application. So again, you should be offered options.
Anna Maria, that's strong, actually, for you to say
that's
that.
That's why she's on.
Because, I'm general liability is what, my dad from the beginning is like, don't cheap out on the insurance, get your general liability. I've seen too many people have issues because they cheaped out on the insurance. And so that is ingrained in my head and many small businesses. But for you to say I'd rather see them have cyber liability than general liability is, I was kind of just looking around and I'm like, don't ever say, I mean, general liability is like the Rock. I feel safe. I feel like it's cold out and I have a coat on, but so now for you to say that, you know what, maybe I didn't buy enough of that cyber security. Let's go back a stage here. Once again, if you're driving around and you have a question about cyber security, liability insurance, cyber liability insurance, I think they call it CLI if I saw in one of the articles. You have any questions about that? 219-845-1100. You can call or text to that line. We have Vince Mazza. He is the CEO of Guard Street. We've had Vince on a number of times over the many years. And we also have Anna Maria Vidi, and she is with the Vidi companies. But before we go anywhere further, Anna Maria, somebody's driving around and they're like, man, I want to talk to this woman about cybersecurity, cyber liability insurance. How do they get a hold of you?
You can either call 847-432-1000 or our website, www.vtcompanies.com.
Vince, we got to ask you, what happened with the Columbia Pipeline?
Well, they failed from a ransomware perspective. They didn't have the appropriate backups. Unfortunately, there were some tip-offs in terms of some new malware that was out there. Tip-off from a antivirus company that was touting, we can, we've got this. You shouldn't be attacked. If you are attacked with this particular malware, we've got you. They didn't, and then they made an initial payment. So, boy, was that a textbook case of really having the right cyber tools and actions and policies in place and following them.
Vince, whenever we have you on, we try to figure out, hey, like, what's the trends in cyber criminals, I guess. And since we last spoke, you said the word malware. Every business person or anybody in any organization right now driving around is like throwing water on the Wicked Witch of the West. We're all melting when you just say that word, but that's not the only thing out there. What are the trends right now?
Two big ones right now. One is the ransomware, of course, and as long as cryptocurrency stays at a high relative to the last 6 to 9 months, I mean, it's a little bit down now, but it's still really high. Ransomware is going to continue, and there's new malware that is always coming out, even at a quickening pace right now. The other very common approach is a multi-vector attack model, meaning that you could get hit with a phishing email and then later that day get a phone call, or shortly after even getting an email, you get a phone call or a text to add credibility to the initial attack vector, and then you or your employees are falling for something that appears to be credible, and you just released key social information that could allow an attacker to figure out how to get into your network. Those are the two key trends right now.
And in insurance, Anna Maria Vidi Welch, obviously cyber liability insurance is certainly the trend, and people are learning about it. A lot of the local agents here on the Indiana side don't really know about it or even offer it. But that's got to be a trend in insurance that if you go to any of these online conferences, boom, CLI. Talk about that a little bit. Is it happening quick enough?
Can you rephrase?
Yeah, I mean, like, the trend in insurance, I'm sure that you guys are, obviously on the forefront of it. Mm-hmm. Is the insurance industry coming along quick enough on this?
Yes. I want to, though, tell you, though, I like to look at cyber liability as kind of a cheese pizza, because I don't want people to really realize, I've got cyber liability and they are covered. Usually these very inexpensive policies just have expense. But again, someone that is not going to have business interruption because they don't have e-commerce, they're not selling online, why would they need business interruption? So there are things you can add. Again, liability. You don't have to have liability if, again, you don't have a lot of information. So I want people to be really careful when they do purchase it, find out what is included.
I'll add to that for a moment from a cyber perspective. When you sign on for even general liability insurance, but definitely cyber liability insurance, you are also signing on and indicating that you're following good cyber hygiene practices. You've got passwords, you're backing up, you're scanning, you're training your employees and so forth. And the failure to do that could result in a failure to get or maintain coverage when it comes time. So I wanted to point that exclusion out. So that's why I started the show with, you've got to have two things. You got to have the cyber side, you've got to have the backdrop of insurance.
And once again, Vince Mazza scaring the bejesus out of many independent business people, and even some of the larger ones. Of course, if the Columbia Pipeline experience didn't scare them, that was already the initial scare, listening to this. But you know what? It's something people do need to hear. Now, I already know the answer to this question on my own business, but people are driving around and they're going, well, how much does this cost? Anna Maria, give us, ballpark us, will you?
I'm going to say anywhere between $350 for someone that might have 2 or 3 employees. They are not 100% e-commerce, up to, I'm going to say it could be up to, a couple $1,000s.
And that really, is that a monthly or yearly fee?
Yearly, but
yearly.
It really depends on how much you're using. So again, somebody that's 100% online, you're going to be paying more than someone that is not using it as much, or let's just say relying on it. Because again, the more risk, the more expensive it's going to be.
All right, so let's look at this. Once again, we're talking to Anna Maria Viti Welch and Vince Mazza about cybersecurity and specifically cyber liability insurance. And if you're just getting in your car and you want to see this again, or you want to make your employees watch it, all you got to do is go to jedtv.com and click on the video, and there's a ton of information in here. So let's give an example, Anna Maria. Now, have you had any of your clients have to access the insurance and file a claim yet?
To tell you the truth, no, we have not. We might have had one scare, but it really wasn't. I do know people that have had ransomware. It did take them, it was a company that's probably about $5-6 million in sales. And it took them, he told me, a month and a half just to get back up. He lost a month and a half of productivity.
So when you buy the CLI, the cyber liability insurance, and you do get an attack, now are they just there to pay you for your damages, or are there any avenues from the policy where they might say, hey, go talk to these people? I mean, do they help you mend, in other words? Vinny, why don't you take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really two parts to the cyber liability insurance. And I know because we're part of the first part, which is the incident response. Mm-hmm. So, holy smokes, there's a ransomware attack or there's been a breach. Then you call the number and then they will put you in contact with a qualified cybersecurity professional to say, okay, do you have backups in place? Is it a single machine? Turn off the machine immediately, take it offline, and get the aspects in place so that the problem doesn't get worse. Or if there's a negotiation that's taking place with a cyber attacker, that's something that goes into effect. But then the insurance company handles that backdrop or reactive side of things, where they will pay for the incident response team to help the customer to regain their data, to get their business back and going. And then, God forbid, that there's a a lawsuit, maybe somebody said that the company that was attacked was negligent. The cyber liability insurance is designed to also help with third-party claims like that.
That's a lot of information. If you guys want to watch this, all you got to do is go to Jed TV on the app or any of that other stuff, and you'll be able to digest this a little more slowly, because right now it's so much information and so much fear at times. Anna Maria Vitti Welch, someone once again give the website and phone number.
847-432-1000. And then we're at www.vtcompanies.com.
And once again, give that final word that you want to tell the small to medium-sized business right now about how important this is.
Please call your agent, or if you do have cyber liability right now, make sure you know what you are covered for. And again, it does not cost to get a quote.
I can't tell you how much doing these interviews with Vinny has changed our business. Okay, I mean, I've thrown everything in the cloud because I'm doing it with Vinny, and if I got a problem, I got a guy on the phone. But I've bought the insurance, and I'm
proud of you, Jimmy.
And I went to the companies that have the greatest security, and we have our own stuff in place. Of course, as soon as I say that, we'll probably get hacked. But I want everyone else to hear this story. And once again, Vinny, you did a great job bringing Anna Maria on and keeping us safe, man. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
All right, check out guardstreet.com or, of course, VT Companies also. Thank you, guys. You did a great job.